Welcome to Alternate Ending, where we're discovering good movies one bad movie at a time. I'm your host, Robert Jarasinski. Across from me is my wife, Carrie Jarasinski. Carrie, I'm excited to be back after such a long break.
How long has it been?
It's actually, do the carry the one. 2 months.
Is it really?
Much. Yeah.
Oh, I feel a little guilty.
I know we were
like
targeting
self-guilt.
2 weeks, every 2 weeks.
You were targeting that, yeah.
I was targeting that. Life gets in the way. But we're finally back talking about our top 5 fantasy movies. Anything exciting you want to talk about before we jump in? I know we have a lot to cover. I've seen a lot of movies in 2 months.
I know. I saw your list. How did you see all those?
Oh yeah, you still to this day you do not keep track of the movies you've seen. So I always have to send you the list like last minute.
So the thing I think that's actually, while it may look like I'm disorganized and maybe a tad lazy, part of it is actually good because it's part of my barometer. Because if I don't actually recognize the title, it already loses a couple notches.
Like it's like your evaluation system.
Part of it, it's in there.
Okay.
I mean, it's mostly laziness.
Wow, that's nice that laziness works out to so many benefits for you.
Yeah. So if I went back and I said, I don't even know this title. What is this? And so I did that for a lot of them. Some of them I had seen, but yeah, it was unlikely to make my list in that case.
Well, I want to thank the listeners. Some of our listeners really prompted us and said, "Hey, you know what? We're kind of missing you guys."
We weren't going to stop. It was just really busy.
We had passed that halfway point, episode 7, where most podcasts kind of just turn off, and I was worried that people would begin to think that we've
were like
given
Colorado.
up on it.
We did some other things.
We did some long trip to Colorado. Summer started. What
Colorado.
Other things? Yeah, I feel like Colorado's really the only thing that's popping in my head.
There were other things.
But they were like weekend obligations, which is when we typically record. So things weren't working out to do the homework, to sit down and actually do the research.
But you're here now, Rob. You're here now.
I'm here now. We did do camping last night. I don't know is it considered camping if it's in your backyard?
Yeah, I think it is.
So we had this epic plan. I'm not what one might call handy, I guess, but we've had a tent. It was a gift, I think, from your parents, right? So
it was one of those gifts though that I really wanted for myself, and so I was like, Rob really wants a tent.
I'm not what you would call a camper or handy for that matter, but Abby, our oldest, wanted to go camping, and I thought, hey, backyard camping,
right?
What an exciting kind of treat. If we need to come inside, it's no big deal. So on Saturday, set out to build this tent. Probably took me 2 hours to put it together, which I was really excited.
So epic side note on this. So we're at Costco today, and Rob sees the tent,
Same
like
tent?
the aforementioned tent, and he's like, "Oh, he legitimately, it took maybe a little longer than 2 hours to set it up, but he looks at the tent, and he's like, I don't feel so bad.
Yeah,
like
60 minutes.
60 minutes here for setup.
Not
that they
bad.
say. So I was only a little bit. It's my first time. It was just like I like Rob. That's 60 seconds. That's a 1 minute setup time.
There's no way. Well, I will say so. Our neighbor and fellow podcaster Leif Erikson joined me, so I wouldn't be alone.
His was much faster.
His was much faster, so I could see
hours.
that 60 seconds is truly possible when you know what you're doing.
Next time.
Next time.
I think next time your goal should be to shave it down to maybe under 2 hours.
Were you impressed? Because we went out Saturday trying to do it, and I set up the tent and everything, and then huge storm came in out of nowhere, 25-mile-an-hour winds. And
it held.
I was really expecting it to blow away.
I was also expecting it to blow away. Yeah.
But it held. And we did end up camping in the backyard the following night. So, everything kind of worked out. But no, good to be back. We're going to get right into it. Starting off with do you feel like there's some rust? Do you feel like you know how to do this? After taking so much time off?
It's like a bike,
if you're riding a bike. All right.
Yeah.
Well, our top 3 worth mentioning. So what the top 3 worth mentioning is of the movies we've seen now, I guess, in the last 2 months, which are the most, the ones that we actually want to talk about the most. They could be great movies. They could be terrible. We share them with you worst to first. We might even decide not to share one since we plan to wreck it to the other person or assign it to the other person as mandatory viewing. So, little bit of catch up to do.
My hypotheses, is that the right word? Foreshadowing, something is that none of them will be the same.
You're saying zero. I'm guessing 1. 0 is probably more likely. I saw 35 movies in 2 months.
You saw 35 movies, but when I was doing my research onto whether or not I had seen the movies or not, you saw some doozy bad ones.
How do you know?
I could just see. I could see it from the
based on the title.
The title. there were a lot of number 2s in there. Not like the number 2s, but like the part 2s.
I feel like we've done the who does number 2
No, I know, but it's
too
not a
many
joke.
times.
I mean, I'm just being clear.
Yeah.
So, like, I knew those weren't good. Like, you had a lot of things in there, like
I think we're going to line up on
Dirty
one.
Grandpa I saw in there.
We're going to line up on one. So, yeah, I saw 35 movies. That brings my total up to 110. How many did you see in 2 months?
I saw 1, 2, 3, 4.
Rough guess.
Like 15, 12.
That's
10,
pretty impressive. So we're
10
both,
to 15.
I mean, that's usually how much you see usually about 4 every 2 weeks. So that's, I mean, you're a little behind pace. But yeah, again, we were pretty busy. I managed to keep pace.
Again, I never underestimate your ability to keep up with your own hobbies.
So let's jump in. What do you have as your kind of number 3 one you want to talk about?
The number 3 movie I did was Hush.
Hush! For
Really?
me too! Lined up. I knew it.
That was the one that you thought would line up?
That was actually, of all the... yeah, because yes, that's the one I thought would line up for sure.
I'm going to talk about
But I didn't expect
Okay.
it to line up like
the third.
So this is pretty
It
epic.
lines up third because it's not a so Hush is it's written by and directed by Mike Flanagan. It's a horror movie. It's what's considered a horror movie. Kate Siegel, she's from Oculus. I think we've talked about that
like
movie
a minor
before.
role. Yeah, it was Oculus was a sweet horror movie too.
Yeah. It wasn't my favorite, but it was okay. It was an okay one. And John Gallagher, who is from 10 Cloverfield Lane, is also, you find out.
I know him from Breaking News, Break Room. Oh man, what's that TV show?
Newsroom.
Newsroom. Thank you. Wow.
See, I'm on fire right
tables
now.
have turned.
I know. I feel so wise. So it's a horror movie. It starts off tense immediately, but it's a horror movie focused around a woman as the main character who's completely deaf and reads lips, but is completely deaf. And it's this slasher / it's very like I Know What You Did Last Summer type spooky, like jumpy, spooky, scary slasher movie, but it's totally a different element when they phase in and out to try and mimic what she's experiencing, so where you're not actually hearing. So
I felt that was
key to
for lack
being
of a
on my
better
list.
term, Hitchcockian. Like it really built tension very well.
Yeah.
So yeah, stories about a deaf writer who retreated into the woods to live in solitary. She's a writer. But she kind of has this kind of
and then
situation.
it's like how she takes on this scary dude.
It is 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's only 6.7 on IMDb.
Yeah.
Which I thought was lower than it would be. I think
it's definitely not 100%.
No. The reason why I think it wasn't.
But critics like it.
Do
and
they?
I can understand. And then that's what Rotten Tomatoes is. It's so all critics feel it's better than 5 out of 10.
Okay.
So I agree. I mean, it is. I think it's better than 5 out of 10.
I can hear the ice in your wine.
I know. I feel like I made a mistake putting ice in our wine tonight, but
There's
I'm doing the box wine still doing the rock and the
There's
boda.
a lot of reasons why you don't want to admit that, but I can hear it jingling.
We'll do one sip.
Maybe do like a chug or something. Yeah.
That's I'll be set until the break.
All right. So it was just, I think the element of, I hadn't seen something like that before where they would do something with actually showing her how it would demonstrate without the ability of actual sound to defend yourself, but even just existing in general, like how she would go through things and how she had to experience life a little bit differently. Had she been able to hear, not a great horror movie, I would say, if she had been able to hear. Would you say?
Like, it would have been okay.
It would have been fine.
But the deaf element really added to it because the director did a great job putting you in her position and understanding that limitation and what that limitation would mean in this circumstance.
Right.
So we didn't talk about, because then I caught myself, but so there's a movie coming out, similar premise a little bit, except the killer is blind and cannot see,
like Daredevil-ish,
but the house is dark. Yeah, a little bit Daredevil-ish.
Okay. But he's not a good
and then I was thinking, like, would I rather be deaf in like with
definitely
the killer
deaf.
Or blind?
Definitely
I
deaf.
think so too.
Yeah, you got to go deaf.
Yeah.
I mean, blind.
So.
I mean,
blind. You're in. Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm glad we agree.
Well, this is a perfect example of what you can do with great limited storytelling. Meaning, limited storytelling. There's a cast of maybe 3, 4, 5 people, maybe 4 people, and it's a single location.
Yeah. Why don't we ever come up with this?
Any guesses how much it cost to make?
Oh, gosh.
I had to dig.
Does that
dig
include paying the actors?
Yep.
Okay.
Production
All right, hang on.
costs.
Let me
all
think.
production.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like $700,000.
$70,000.
$70,000. Well, so they did it free.
No, I'm sure the actors. I mean, John Gallagher Jr. must have done it maybe at a break, but
discount?
no one. Oh, the other guy in there is.
I think they had a coupon.
Battlestar Galactica guy who's in there. Anyway, it's on Netflix streaming right now.
I would recommend seeing it if you like horror.
Yeah, out of my 35 movies, why it jumps to the third is because it's available for free right now, and it's worth seeing if you like a horror I was skeptical.
movie.
I think when the credits were starting, I was like, oh, this is a Bolt House production or whatever. I was like, this is
I picked it. You're always judgier when it's ones that I
and
that I
you know
pick.
what? It surprised me, and I want to share it. And that's
I would
why
recommend
wanted
people
to
seeing it
bring
again
up here.
if you like horror. If you're a person that's not into horror stuff, I would avoid.
Jack Williams, not for you, buddy.
No.
All right, number 2 for you.
Number 2 for me was The Gift.
So I kind of played it because I wanted The Gift in my top 3, but because we had both seen it, I was hoping you'd put it there. So it is not in my top 3, but I wanted it to.
I gamed you on another one. Now you're probably not going to put my game.
No, then probably not.
Oh, man. We're not going to get to talk about my favorite movie.
Oh, really?
Okay. So anyway, we'll see. So The Gift is a movie written and directed by Joel Edgerton.
And acted by.
You're right. He's
actually
the
mostly
creepy
known.
dude
This is
in
his
it.
directorial debut.
Yeah. So it's also Jason Bateman, who you know from Silver Spoons. And
Silver Spoons? I'm sorry. I do not know Jason Bateman from Silver Spoons. What? Can you please tell me what Silver Spoons is? I don't know. It's just really caught off guard.
Sorry.
It's my fight or flight response.
Your face. So he was also in Arrested Development, if you don't know. And Silver Spoons.
What was his TV show growing up?
Silver Spoons.
No, Hogan Family? Hogan Family.
No, I don't think so. And he was also in Mr. Belvedere. Did you know that?
I don't know that. Hogan Family is where I knew him from originally.
He was in a lot of child stuff, but everyone knows who he is. It's fine. And Rebecca Hall, who was in The Prestige, and then, like Rob said, Joel Edgerton too, who was in nothing.
Rebecca Hall was in The Prestige?
Yeah.
Man.
Joel Edgerton was not in probably anything you've seen or known, unless you're Rob. Maybe I haven't seen anything that he was in.
Warrior. Midnight Special.
I have not.
Those are things that are coming to mind.
I have not seen those. No.
Good movies.
And neither has anyone
Exodus.
else. No one's seen that either. But now you lost my train of thought. Where was I? Joel Edgerton, which I actually think that benefited because he plays kind of the weirdo in the movie, and I like when the weirdo is somebody that's not familiar.
Gordo the weirdo.
Gordo. His name is Gordo.
That doesn't
no offense
help.
to anyone named Gordo.
Oh yeah, we're probably offending someone.
I know people named Gordo. No, I don't. But anyway, so the synopsis on it is Jason Bateman and Rebecca Hall, whatever their characters' names are a married couple kind of living in Pleasantville life. Like they have this beautiful home. They have this really cool life. He's a really successful guy, has a really successful job. She's really sweet, really nice woman. They're trying to have a child. And all of a sudden, Gordo shows up. Like Gordo Creepo shows up and starts bringing, he says he remembers Jason Bateman from his past kind of thing. Like, hey, from high school kind of thing. And then just weird things start to ensue from there. He's like the guest that doesn't leave kind of thing. And I recommend people seeing it, not only because I think it's a twist movie, not only because I think it's a good movie and a well-acted movie. I think it's different for Jason Bateman than other characters that he's played before.
For sure.
But also because I actually think it has a really pretty awesome theme behind it once you sort of get towards the end. So you don't really, the theme and sort of like the takeaway you don't really realize until very close to the end. But I think it's probably something that everybody could learn from.
I'm really glad you mentioned it because it's twisty and turby.
It's good. You're definitely on the edge and you don't know why necessarily.
And it plays with your like who you're rooting for. I actually don't know who I end up rooting for.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's
so many people.
Okay, yeah. It was
so
good.
it's a 7.1 on IMDb. It's 2015. I think it was out on Netflix too, right?
You have to send away from it. That's another reason why I didn't put it on is because because of that extra effort that someone has to go through to see it. But I think it's worth sending away for. If you have Netflix, send away for it or rent it.
I don't think it's worth the
$2.99
or whatever it is. Yeah,
I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, it's considered suspense, I would say.
Yeah, I'm trying more in these top threes.
Suspense comedy.
I'm trying to do more of the freebies. Like, is it available for free?
You're becoming so thrifty in your old age. Yeah. Okay.
Learn from the best.
So what's your number 2?
My number 2 is 99 Homes. Have you heard this?
You briefly told me. I never thought you put this on your list.
2014 movie, hour 52 minutes. IMDb gives it a 7.1. Rotten Tomatoes, 92%.
Huh.
Written and directed by Ramin Bahrani. Famous, I guess, for directing Pushcart and Goodbye Solo, which I think were documentaries. Roger Ebert called
I thought this was a documentary. It's not?
99 Homes now.
Oh, this is the foreclosure thing.
It's a foreclosure movie with Andrew Garfield is in it, and Michael Shannon, Laura Dern. But yeah, Roger Ebert called this director the best director of the decade.
Say the name again.
Ramin Bahrani.
I just wanted to say it again.
I have not seen anything else by this gentleman, but I probably should. Rod Ebert and I, we never necessarily see eye to eye on certain things, but I called him best director of the decade, and actually Ramin dedicated the movie to him. So it's about it's very relevant to the situation of the downturn. So a recently unemployed single father struggles to get back his foreclosed home by working for the real estate broker who is the source of his frustration. So it takes place probably right in the throes of the downturn. And Andrew Garfield plays this kind of working class blue collar dad.
What did you say he's in? Andrew Garfield?
Garfield, probably best known for Amazing Spider-Man or Social Network. He is Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
Andrew Garfield in Amazing Spider-Man, not Tobey Maguire.
You lost me there. Yeah. Okay.
So he's a blue collar guy. Throes of the downturn. Works as a handyman or on construction sites, that sort of thing. And obviously with the downturn, not a whole lot of new homes in Florida. And he's got his childhood home, which now he's a single father living with his mom. It's the house he grew up in. His mom does hair. Anyway, like. They stop missing payments because he's having trouble keeping up with his payments.
You mean they start missing payments?
No, he had been missing. He'd been missing.
Oh, they
payments.
stop missing payments. You mean he starts paying again?
No. So they had stopped making payments on their house because they've been having trouble making ends meet. And their house. I mean, it's their house. It's in the first 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
House gets kind of foreclosed on. And by this kind of ruthless, kind of swarmy Michael Shannon, which he's probably one of my favorite.
Why am I blinking on his face?
Midnight Special he was in. He was also Lord Zod in the new Superman reboot, which you hadn't seen.
Michael Shannon. Yeah, I know the face.
I don't know what else you might have seen him for. He was in that bike movie with Joseph Gordon-Levitt as the bad guy.
Oh, the
guy
bike movie.
The dirty cop who was chasing him.
Yep.
Blanking on the name of that movie.
Post Office.
That's a good movie.
Mail Carrier. Carrier.
No,
Carrier.
None of those.
No.
But also a decent movie.
I'll look it up.
he's a good bad guy, and he plays I don't want to call him a sympathetic villain because I don't sympathize with him, but he's working
the messenger.
Maybe the mess. No, not the messenger. Anyway.
Okay.
Good movie. Kind of deals with so he ends up working for the guy who foreclosed his house, and he's desperately trying to get his house back, and it's like, what means would you go to
get your house
your house back? Would you put people in the same situation that you just went through in order to get your house back? And it kind of deals with those themes. And I don't know, it was a very tense movie. I got chills just thinking about it. Just great acting.
Yeah.
Great acting. Andrew Garfield, Laura Dern.
So would you recommend would I like it?
Yes, you would. Okay. You would like it. You would think it's probably depressing a little bit because this is
real life stuff.
It's real life situations that people probably dealt with. And what I think is interesting about it is how people took advantage of the system that's in place and probably still are taking advantage of systems that are in place by just kind of the loopholes in it. And I think it's really interesting to see how those loopholes work out and it can be turned into money. And anyway, so cool. That was my number 2.
If I'm looking for a depressing movie, I'm going to check it out.
It's right up here. Yeah, go for it. It's available right now on Amazon. So go right out and check it out. All right, number 1 for you.
Number 1, I did The Freebie.
Number 1? Really?
So
is it because I fell asleep during it?
That's part of it. It is part of it. So it makes me feel really powerful when you know nothing about the movie because I can say whatever I want, but also because it was a really good movie. I told you missed one that was good. It was like
so 8, I got to run out and see
PM.
It. It's not because you want a freebie.
No. So let me explain what it's about. weirdo. So the freebie is written, directed by Katie Aselton, which people know from The League. She's the wife in The League, the one lady character in The League. So she's already she's a funny character. I think funny actress. I think she's likable. I've always liked her. So she and Dax Shepard, who's from, he's married to Veronica Mars.
He's married to Kristen
That's all
Bell.
you really need
That's
to know.
That's what he's famous
Kristen
for. Well,
Bell.
he started out
You don't need
with,
to know anything else.
He started with Ashton Kutcher. He was the guy in Punk.
He's married to
Punk'd.
Kristen Bell.
Yeah.
So that goofy guy.
Parenthood. TV show.
And married to Kristen Bell. So they're a married couple. So she writes, directs, and acts in it. They're a married couple who decide they've been married for, I think it's like the 7-year time frame. They don't have any kids, and they decide to give each other like a one-night pass. That's all that you can say about it. But it's not. So here's the thing about the movie.
So for the first few minutes of the movie that I sat through, which was like the dinner party scene,
yeah.
It seemed like, if any, so correct me if I'm wrong, he was the guy. He was the one who seemed more interested in getting
the pass,
because he seemed like to complain. It's like, because like someone's newly single, right? Like of their friends. It's like, you got to go out there and you got to
get yourself out there. You got to try
had this opportunity to do
Here's
this,
the things I would do.
I remember like they show her and she's like,
yeah,
okay,
she's like, all right, yeah, totally. So it's everything that comes from that. It didn't do well from an IMDb. It only gets a 5.1, but the reason is, it's interesting. I read a little bit more because it was really good, and so I couldn't understand why it was so low. But apparently, not only like the movie cover for it portrays it as being like she's kind of like half nude sitting in a bathtub, and so is he, and it looks like a very comedic cover, on top of which both of them are very comedic actors. And so for all the people I think that go out to view it, I think there's a totally different expectation coming into it. And then when you actually watch it, it's actually a pretty heavy drama, like a pretty heavy real life emotional drama. And so I think if you had gone in with a different lens, I think it would be a lot higher. It actually got really good critic reviews, but just didn't really do well with, I think, regular audience. But it shot very much, what's the word when you just off the cuff, like, what do you call that? Improv,
yeah.
like very
improvised lines by Dax. I know Dax is a big improviser.
You could tell like there was that dynamic where everybody was just in like at the dinner scenes, like it just felt like you were one of their friends.
The scene that I saw was very much natural.
The whole time you feel like you're just a friend sitting there along the ride too.
So it was good. Duplass involved in this, right? So I didn't know that they were married.
That's her. So yeah,
because
she's
also
married
from
to Mark
the
Duplass from Creep or whatever else.
Yeah, well, you and I love everything he does, and he does a lot of independent
He wasn't
movies.
in it, though.
No, he wasn't in it, but
yeah.
I mean, definitely some
So
involvement.
I would recommend people seeing it. I mean, again, you have to go in with the right view that it's a really real life thing, and it's kind of this like whole idea of choice and the choices you make and the downstream impacts of the choices you make and things that may seem good, like a good idea at the time. Is it really good in the long term? And is
it one where you're left with like knowledge, or are you left with awareness? You know what I mean? Like, are you left neither? No awareness either.
No.
I mean, there's got to be awareness.
So maybe a little awareness, but like you're not left with closure. I'll say that.
Right. So, but you're left with awareness, and that's movies I like too. It's like I'm not expecting a movie to figure out my life for me, but like what I do like is like okay, like I see different perspectives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it was.
Okay.
So you'll have to watch it.
Like there's no right or wrong. It's just.
I feel like you were turned off because you kind of knew what it was about, and you're like, freebase. That's terrible. That's a terrible idea. And then you just fell asleep.
What voice is that?
That's your that's your terrible idea voice.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, it's been a
So.
Available on Netflix.
It is, and I actually think you would like it if you actually you watched it.
I'm really interested to go see it again now.
Now you want to know, and you'd want to know what I would do, like if you had to apply it. I mean, you'll find out. So,
so there is a story of a basketball player who gets one freebie a year. Utah Jazz Kurlenko.
Wait, does everyone know what a freebie is?
Oh, if you said free pass, you set this up.
But did I even say what that was?
A free pass to cheat on your spouse.
Yeah, I mean that's
Andre Karolinko, Utah Jazz. I think him and his wife have an arrangement where he gets like one free pass a year.
She probably also gets so much money. She's like, you get the free pass, but I want $7 million.
Interesting.
I don't know. You don't make enough. Don't even think about it.
All right, moving on to a more comedic number one, a more enjoyable kind of through and through laugh out. Do you have any idea what I'm going to pick here?
Captain America.
So you're going to be angry about what I do later on in the episode.
Okay.
But for, again, going back to I'm trying to pick ones that are available
Sisters?
for free. No.
No.
Oh,
I know.
We'll talk
It
about
was
that
terrible.
a little bit. Not much. Breakpoint is my number one.
Oh, I'm glad you talked about that.
Yeah, this is, I really felt like I found a gem with Breakpoint. It's a 2014 comedy, hour 30 minutes. IMDb gives it a 6.0, which isn't too bad. IMDb 67%, so not hated by critics, not adored. Writer Gene Hong, mostly known for television, directed by Jay Karras, who has directed mostly comedy specials like Bill Burr and stand-up comedy specials, that sort of thing. This is really his first movie. Stars Jeremy Sistow and David Walton as two estranged brothers who reunite to make an improbable run at a Grand Slam tennis tournament. And this movie really, I found it, I was laughing out loud so many times, mostly because of this young kid named, who, the actor's name is Joshua Rush, who played Barry.
Right,
he stole like every scene he was in.
He didn't actually even really say much.
He didn't have to say much. It was more like looks and like
I think it was how they played off
humor,
of.
like
Totally.
Sarcastic, dry, like understated. And then, like, there's so much being said without saying much, kind of.
That was one of those movies that for like a week after you were butchering lines from it, trying to like.
Always that Adam Devine's in it from Workaholics. Amy Smart plays the love interest there, and then J.K. Simmons plays kind of the dad of the two estranged brothers. So yeah, one brother, the older brother, played by Jeremy Sistow, which I haven't seen him since Clueless days. If you remember him from Clueless. He was the kind of the jerk that Brittany Murphy was really after, trying to get interested
about that.
in.
I know you watched that
and
on
he was
loop.
into Cher. Yeah, I was really into Alicia Silverstone.
I know.
As I say with a smile. But anyway, so he plays the older brother. And if you've ever played tennis, I played doubles tennis in high school. There's, he's the player who plays very aggressive. He's more of a power player, unruly. And then his younger brother, more conservative, plays with more like spin and stuff like that.
But
and
consistent.
Consistent. Has played out in his life. So the older brother, Jeremy Sistow, drops him, I guess. You find this out pretty early on in the movie, to go and found another doubles partner and went on to more kind of fame a little bit, but not really.
Right.
And he's kind of now reaching the end of his career. He wants to make one last run.
He's kind of old.
He's
30, like our age.
36 years. Yeah, I guess it's our age. For tennis, we're old. Anyway, make one last run, has to kind of rekindle things with his brother, who's hesitant to do it because, again, he's very conservative, and the bad blood between them. And they resolve some things, maybe not. But yeah, it's a fun, it's like a buddy movie.
I recommend, yeah. I think most like husband-wife combos would like that, as well as
the humor.
Singles. Yeah.
Yeah, the humor in it is.
It's definitely not
funny.
one of those movies that one person's going to be like, you're dragging me into this. Everyone would like it, I think.
And because of my tennis background, I say it like I was really
tennis
good.
Background.
My playing partner and I, Lo Kung, who's been mentioned on the show before, we kind of stack the team a little bit. If anybody's familiar with tennis, we play doubles, and there are 4 doubles options available when you're playing tennis. We actually systematically perform poorly enough so that we would be placed at number 4, so that then we would have a better shot at making it to state.
These are all things.
I'm coming clean.
These are all things you should keep to yourself.
We're
like,
coming
this is
clean.
A statement on who you are.
So we were able to make it to state because we were playing against inferior competition the whole season. Whatever it takes to get the letter, which still ticks me off that Lo, we actually were all conference.
Is it the Wall of Fame?
It's the Wall of Fame.
You're not on the
Not
Wall
only
of
that,
Fame.
Lo.
That's karma.
I was wearing a polo shirt because I knew we had our pictures.
Yeah.
Lo didn't bring a polo shirt.
He's probably wearing like a T-shirt.
He was wearing a T-shirt, so he asked me to borrow my polo shirt. And so he got a picture
on the Wall of Fame
with my polo shirt.
I'm sure he is.
He's wearing my polo shirt in the picture.
There's times in your life where you have to let it go.
All right, I'm going to cruise through the next bunch because you're going to be mad at that I'm doing this. But movies in theaters, because I kind of set separate category. Captain America, Civil War. I don't want to go into any detail.
Just see it. Everyone should
go
see it.
see it. If you haven't seen it,
see it in theaters if you can.
See it now. Go. What are you doing with your lives?
If you're going to see a superhero-esque movie, see it over X-Men. Still see X-Men, but still see Captain America first.
I gave X-Men like a meh. Although I want to thank you for taking me out to a very nice theater, the Alamo Drafthouse with Joy Vigil, Amanda Vigil, Lo Kung, Becca Perkins.
Once a year. It was your birthday.
It was nice experience. Meh movie.
It was like meh plus 2 points.
Which is disappointing because it kind of, again, you picked Captain America as your top 5 most anticipated. I had high hopes. I feel
so good about
X-Men.
myself.
You should. You should.
When
Jungle Book. Oh my goodness. I saw Jungle Book in theaters by myself. Amazing.
Yeah. Everyone that I've heard that's seen it has loved it. Said it was so good.
Just ridiculous. I think what and you just reminded me of his name just a couple days ago, Jon Favreau, what he did to get Iron Man, because Iron Man basically set the stage for all the Avengers movies and all this. He did again for Disney. Like, he's made it, it was like live action Disney, it's kind of been hit or miss for me.
Yeah.
Incredible movie.
Heard it across the board. You said not appropriate though for kids, probably.
Oh
right?
man, I
8
can't
and
see
over?
at least 8. For I mean,
and if Rob's saying that, it's 12. 12
yeah,
and over.
it's right. If I'm saying it, so that says something.
I'm not usually seeing it. I'm scared.
It was pretty intense, and some, there's some deep themes there. I mean, how Mowgli
they don't
ends
usually
up
get
alone.
the themes, but I'm more worried about for kids like violence.
It's pretty
and
explicit
gore.
as to how Mowgli ends up alone.
Is Mowgli the?
Mowgli's the boy.
The boy.
Yeah.
So someone dies.
I mean, to end up alone. I mean, this is, yeah.
First 15 minutes, yeah.
No, not first 15 minutes.
Okay.
But, I mean, I think if you
should
know
see that.
Jungle Book. Anyway, things I want to say is watch, because I saw 35 movies. I just want to say the things that I would recommend watching if you haven't seen it. So we talked about The Gift. Don't you talk about it? Prescription Thugs, available streaming right now on Netflix. Prescription Thugs, the documentarian behind Bigger, Stronger, Faster. Great documentary about the prescription drug problem in the U.S. and probably abroad, but great documentary, some twists and turns that happen to the documentarian kind of captured as well within there. And then we saw Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Just because we saw it. I know, I don't want to talk about it, but if you haven't seen Forgetting Sarah Marshall,
very funny.
It's funny.
Very funny. And Veronica Mars.
Veronica Mars back. Not another callback. Go through my meh movies really quick.
No, you don't.
Just really quick. I just have to do it. Because I'm going to feel weird about it if I don't. Some of these are meh because I had higher expectations and they didn't meet it, or it could be that it was low expectations and meh could be good. So I just want to get them out there. Ride Along 2, not really good. Meh.
2.
End of the Tour, better than expected. Magic the Gathering, a movie about playing magic cards, was pretty sweet.
Oh my gosh, don't. Again.
Top 5 with Chris Rock, Moonrakers, Blood Ties, Maggie. What did you think about Maggie?
Don't see
Would
that
you
movie.
Say
no.
Just don't see it? It is a little bit of a waste of time.
It's a zombie movie. If you like zombies, don't see it. If you don't like zombies, don't see it either.
Murder Party. I mentioned Blue Ruin in the past and Green Room, which is one of my most anticipated.
Wait, you watched Blue Ruin again?
No. I'm just saying, Murder Party is the director, directed by the same guy. Mystery Team, fun, better than expected. The voices, the freebie I had is meh, but I kind of got to give it another shot.
Meh, you fell asleep in the first.
I know, maybe I shouldn't even count
47 seconds.
Age of Adeline, what do you think about that one?
I said middle of the road, meh.
Yeah, good, we're on the same page. Dirty Grandpa.
Don't even talk about it.
Okay, Robert De Niro, little Zac Efron. It Follows, what'd you think about that? I fell asleep at the end.
I said, don't. Yeah. Oh, this is another one. So,
I just woke up to you being like, oh, come on. like it woke me from my slumber. Oh, come on.
I was like.
Like you just wasted your life.
I was like so mad at you. Because again, I'm like, I only stay awake during like crap. I'm like, why did I stay awake during this? It's a horror movie. Don't see it. I mean, so here's what I'll say.
Especially don't see it because you have to send away for it. It's not free.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, definitely don't see it. It's and it's Splice-esque in the sense of like.
Oh yeah.
There's like do I spoil it? And I'm not gonna spoil it just in case.
Yeah, don't spoil it.
No, but don't see it. Unless it's a horror movie.
I saw Charlie St. Cloud and it was better than expected. I was expecting
It's just your
Nicholas.
Zac Efron thing you have.
I do like Zac Efron.
I know.
Yeah, I do.
It's
but
weird.
Constance Wozniak also pointed out that it was a pretty decent movie. Kind of
I didn't
like
see it.
She said predictable. There's actually I think it's a good twist. So I think you might enjoy it.
So the reason I will never watch that is because Netflix categorizes them and it puts it in the same bucket as like what's that really sad movie about that? Like Dear Zachary. It's like if you liked Dear Zachary, which is the worst, saddest movie. Saddest movie though ever.
Oh, you got to be in the right mind frame to see it.
So let's not talk about it. But so it's like if you like that horrifyingly depressing movie, you'll like Charlie St. Cloud or whatever it is.
I won't talk about any other mess, but I will say Sisters. Wow, disappointing. Amy Poehler and
they don't do it.
And Tina Fey. It was just disappointing.
Yeah.
Joy V. Hill felt the same way. So skips. I have to go through these because I want people to avoid these. There's only 5.
So fast. Do it so fast.
Hot Pursuit. We had to turn it off.
Okay, next one.
We had to turn it off.
Next.
Special Correspondence.
Skip. Next one.
Jack Strong, you didn't see. Hercules, skip. And then for those parents, Norm of the North. What the heck? What is that?
You're keeping it clean.
All right, done.
All right, done.
Done. All right, so remember you can find more details about all the movies we've watched at our website, alternateendingpod.com. That's alternateendingpod.com. When we get back, top 5 fantasy movies. Ding! Clean break. And we're out. Welcome back to Alternating, talking about our top 5 fantasy movies. But before we do, Carrie, what is a fantasy, I guess, other than me just wearing jeans?
It's so funny because when you said fantasy, I was thinking of Ryan Reynolds.
So
movies.
similar.
So I was like The Notebook.
Similar build, Ryan and I.
What's that
Wait,
movie?
The Notebook? You're talking about Ryan Gosling.
Did I say Ryan Reynolds?
I gave you so much. Yes, you did.
I'm just trying to back off the comment you just made. But what's that movie where what's his name? I wrote Ryan Reynolds. Gosling does the leg up thing.
Oh, the leg up. Crazy Stupid Love.
Yeah, that was a good
Classic.
one too. So that's in my list. Fantasy movies. Again, The Notebook. What else is he in?
Wait, what are we talking about right now?
These are just all my fantasy
You're just talking
movies.
about, so Ryan Gosling is your fantasy.
Yeah.
No, this is a really hard concept. The hard part for me was sitting down and you know how I am, trying to objectively create parameters for what's in and what's out for a fantasy. So what were your restrictions? Because there's a lot of things that can overlap into fantasy.
So here's how I went about it. I know I'm very
you're very scientific.
Yeah, I'm not maybe as scientific as you. I Googled top 5 fantasy movies of all time.
Oh, yes, very scientific.
I was like, have I seen these? No. So what I thought about when I think about fantasy, I think about something that could not actually happen, like something that has an element where it's not real, like a unicorn or a troll.
I'm with you so far.
Okay.
But so how do you differentiate between that and science fiction?
So science fiction, I think of aliens and more supernatural.
Okay, so ghosts would not be...
So here's the thing, though. So after I already came up with my list of 5, then when I went to go kind of research a little bit about them, if I go to one of my movies in IMDb and I'm sort of researching about it, it'll say sci-fi, fantasy, action, adventure.
Sure.
So
I disagree with a lot of IMDb's.
I definitely disagree, but it helped me sort of get a barometer for they cross over into different genres.
For me, I actually did it backwards. I started with, you know what? Let me just think about not get inside my own head too much and just start a list of top fantasy movies. So I started a list. I probably had about 30 on there.
Mandy Moore movies.
All Mandy Moore.
Right.
Anne Hathaway maybe slipped in.
Oh, come on.
I'm just joking. Actually, we got to maybe do that. Is top 5 that kind of a thing.
All right, let's move
on. Moving on. So I started with my 30 movies, and then I created the parameters around that, and then I said in or out.
So what were your parameters,
my parameter is it needs to have fantastic themes, usually involving magic, supernatural events, mythology, folklore, fantastical worlds.
Yeah.
What I was looking for was world building. So what was...
I don't think it's not a prerequisite, but yeah.
I'm just saying for me, it needed to be world building. The world needed to be fantastical.
Okay.
It can't just be, hey, modern day, our world reality, and then one character is fantastical. That helped because it narrowed it down. Because I had a lot of movies that are fantasy. Okay, one example I'll just throw out there: Edward Scissorhands, right? So
that's fantasy, or that's
it is a fantasy movie. But I said nope. I'm sorry. It needs to be a fantasy world. It can't just be
Edward.
Edward is the only element that's...
Well, that was a good movie, though.
It was a good movie. But so there were a lot of movies like that. And I definitely excluded things like, no comic book movies.
Don't list all of mine, probably.
No, you're free to do what you want. I said no comic book movies, movies with fantastical elements, but largely set in the real world were excluded. So Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Mm-hmm. That's a fantasy.
Yeah.
Excluded. Animated movies, sci-fi and
horror. You said
horror.
it's a fantasy. Why is it excluded, Benjamin Button?
It's a fantasy movie according to IMDb, but for I put stricter...
Oh, because the world
I want the world to be
Okay.
fantastical. I want to see who built the best fantasy world with all these vibrant characters and things like that.
Okay.
So that's what I was. Horror movies, if it was mostly horror, if the movie ended up being a little too scary, I said nope, can't do it. If it ended up being too sci-fi, I said nope, can't do it. So that was
a lot of rules.
So
but,
what's your number 5?
So here's the thing. With my number 5, I didn't really go...
And did you see any patterns?
No.
Okay.
Did you? I'm sure you did.
3 of my 5, 80s, mid-80s.
That's what goes back to my original theory of being a kid when you see movies.
Yeah, that's true.
But,
and then I also am interested, will we overlap at all? I say yes.
I say 1.
2.
Okay.
Okay.
I already know one of yours.
Oh, how do you know?
I just know.
All right.
Because you're kind of predictable in that sense. But so the first one I went with is actually amazing, but I put it first because it qualifies as your blockbuster, like so much money, like type thing. So I put it first because everybody's seen it.
Well, you put it first or you put it fifth?
I put it fifth.
Okay.
I put Lord of the Rings.
Hey!
Fifth. Because I'm just saying,
it's
like,
my number one.
I know. Well, and so I did the flip. Like, is it probably number one? Yes.
Okay.
But
you're leaving it out there because it's obvious.
It's obvious.
Yeah.
Everybody, if you're into fantasy, this is everybody's
can I just
top movie.
Throw some interesting fact about the Lord of the Rings series?
No, because I'm not done talking about what I was going to say.
It's my number one. I feel like I should be able to.
That's true. But all I wanted to say about it was, which one is my favorite if I liked the one where the trees
Leaf and I
save
talked about
everything?
this.
The trees. When
is that the name of the movie?
Is it Two Towers? When the trees.
That's the worst of the three.
I just love when the trees come to save the day. I'm like, you guys are just like badass trees.
Of everything in there, that's what stands out to you.
I love like something coming to save the day.
Leaf and I agreed that Return of the King is the best of it. But for me, it's the third.
Yeah.
But the origin story is very important, close second for me. And then, I mean, it's not that Two Towers is a...
None of them are bad.
None of them are bad. Peter Jackson built, again, when I was talking about fantastical world...
Yeah.
The world is... It's like...
It's a world. You believe you're there. Like, I really believe there are orcs.
Yes.
Like, they're real things, you know?
17 Oscars across those three movies.
And so, again, I said it... I know that it's amazing, and it's probably the best fantasy series of all time, but... It just felt too obvious to use as a number one. So
I don't think we need to talk too much about it.
No, I
great
won't.
series. And I said, so this is one fact out of my many facts that I researched. Sean Connery was actually offered the role of Gandalf, but thought the story was nonsense.
I'm so glad. So it's Ian McKellen, right?
Ian McKellen. But
he is the best.
So they were so desperate to get Sean Connery, they offered him 15% of box office.
What?
Which, if he would have taken this role, he would have made $400 million.
Whoa.
He would have made 400. They were so desperate, like, Sean, you got to do this.
Good thing he was in The Rock.
Nonsense.
He's like,
is that good? That's not good.
No, it's not. But it's still funny. So good thing he took up like what's that movie?
I don't know what he did instead.
What's the movie where he goes under all Entrapment?
Entrapment, yeah.
That's the one I was gonna say.
You didn't even do anything. You did like a hand gesture, and somehow I knew
you knew that I was
Entrapment.
going under laser beams with my hand.
Modern Family, where he just does like one little hand gesture, and then like his partner knows that it's whatever.
I was going under a laser beam with my hands.
With your hands,
right there.
you were doing like a hula thing, but yet I knew it was Entrapment.
Yeah, also a good movie, but I can't believe he passed that up.
Yeah. Well, he thought it was nonsense. He thought 15% of zero is still zero. So he's like, I'll pass. $400 million.
He's kicking himself in the pants for that one.
Yeah. The only other person I know who, Jack Nicholson, made a similar deal that he took for Batman, and he got
millions, right? Because he took it. Yeah.
$100 million in the 90s because he took a box office deal, like back end.
So everyone has seen it, but it's definitely the number one fantasy movie.
So since you've taken my number one, you can go number 4, and then I'll go number 5.
All right. So I chose this one because it came to me right away when I was thinking about fantasy. It doesn't meet your whole world criteria. But then after I researched, other people say that it's a fantasy, but it's Escape to Witch Mountain, 1975. Seen it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, childhood favorite. We're talking about 80s.
Childhood love.
Yeah, it doesn't meet my very strict guidelines.
Criteria. I get that. But I wanted to...
It takes place in the real world, 2 fantastical characters.
Right. So it's loosely on my criteria.
It's a little sci-fi.
It's both. It is definitely both. But sci-fi. Still a fantasy. So...
Listeners, chime in. I think it's
listeners,
sci-fi.
if you loved this movie as a child, Escape to Witch Mountain, and or Return to Witch Mountain...
Or if you think it should be off the list because it doesn't fit. Either way.
Either way, it's fine. But... So I'm so excited to talk about this movie.
Talk about it.
I'll talk about it. And here's why I'm so excited to tell you about it. So it's written by Robert Young, directed by John Hugh, something like that. Guess what? He's still alive, 74. Guess what he also directed?
John who?
John... Is that a joke?
It wasn't a joke. I wasn't paying attention. Was that his name?
His name is John Hugh.
Hughes?
It's Hough.
No, I have no idea.
Howe or Hugh.
Could be Huff.
So guess what else he directed?
What?
Guess.
Escape to Witch Mountain Part 2?
Yeah, but what else?
I have no idea.
Watcher in the Woods.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You know what? I can kind of see it.
I can see it.
I can kind of see it.
So when Rob and I first met, I told
That's
him,
a small world.
It is a small world. I said, you have to see The Watcher in the Woods, which was my favorite child horror movie of all time. And so we rented it on VHS, and we did watch it. And Rob was less impressed than I was, but
you can't. It's hard to go back to those.
It's hard to go back.
There's a lot of movies that
I
probably
was
scare
so
me.
scared when I saw it as a kid.
Escape.
Escape. So it's Eddie Albert, who you might know from Green Acres if you're an old Nick at Night watcher, and Kim Richards, who plays the girl, and Ike Eisman, who plays the guy, or the little boy.
Kim Richards, most notably now.
I know.
Did you not know this?
No.
You did not know that?
The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
She's a mess.
She's a hot mess, and she has some serious facial. I feel bad about it too because she peaked clearly at Escape to Witch Mountain, and it was all downhill.
Top 5 childhood actors.
I know. I think it's because she was so cute, and then it was kind of one of those things where you're like, how do I keep this standard? How do I keep this bar? And she thought it was through
I can still
facial
see
injections.
her. I can still see her in the person she is now. Like,
a little
I still
bit,
see that little girl.
A little bit.
But boy, yeah, she has.
It's gone downhill. But 2 kids are these orphan twin children who are found to have special powers, and you find out in the movie in 1975. So everyone, if you saw this, you saw it as a child, and it's basically then somebody's after them. This guy's after them because he thinks there's a way to make money, and then this rich guy's after him, and then it's kind of them running from this guy. When I was a kid, I watched this probably 50 times.
We had this on at after school. I watched it at after school, and it was, I don't know if it was on TV.
I don't know what it was on. Yeah.
Any interest to see the remake with starring The Rock?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I wonder if it's any
And
good.
I actually was thinking about it. I actually have no interest to ever watch this movie again because I want to just hold it in.
Well, like Watcher in the Woods. So I don't know.
I never want to see that.
If you saw that again, you were like, "Well, this was kind of crap."
Kind of a piece. But this same thing. I hold this special place for it. Loved it. It was amazing. I don't want to see how hokey all the.
Actually, you know what? I feel that way about all of my ones from the 80s. I kind of just don't want to see them again because I don't want to see the. I don't want to see the terrible. I don't want to see the terrible special effects.
No, I don't want to judge it.
I don't want to see the acting.
Kind of like what was the movie we watched with Michael J. Fox with the dead people?
Oh, Frighteners.
So great movie.
Coincidence. Who directed Frighteners?
John Howe?
No. Before that,
Peter Jackson.
directed Frighteners.
Oh, you're right. You're right. So, but that was a movie where still a good movie today, but the effects in that were just cheesy and hokey and whatever. It was probably good at the time. You said it was so scary at the time.
I have a real fantasy movie for you now. Mine number 5 that meets
the
strict guidelines. Legend, 1985. You seen this?
Is that with Will Smith?
No, that's I Am Legend.
Is that
not from 1985?
No.
So Legend, 1985, hour 29 minutes. IMDb gives it a 6.5. Rotten Tomatoes 48%. That's the other thing.
Sounds like a good one, yeah.
Other things I've learned is fantasy movies typically critics not big fans of fantasy movies. Directed by Ridley Scott. So Martian, Blade Runner, Gladiator, Alien. He's got Alien Covenant coming out soon. Stars Tom Cruise is probably one of his first roles, first acting roles. Mia Sara is the princess.
Legend.
And Tim Curry as Darkness. Oh.
Maybe I did see this.
So freaked out. Darkness with the horns. Makeup took him 8 hours to get in, and it was 30 pounds on his head.
Yeah.
Tim Curry wearing the scariest looking thing. I mean, it's burned into my brain.
Uh-huh.
I can't. I'm debating whether or not Tim Curry as Darkness or Tim Curry as the clown in It. Which was scarier? I can't.
Oh, Tim Curry, and he's already super creepy looking in real life,
he's already
right?
Super creepy. So Rocky Horror Picture Show is where others might know him from. So synopsis: a young man must stop the Lord of Darkness from both destroying daylight and marrying the woman he loves. I mean, you've got elves, goblins, darkness.
Darkness.
I mean, it's got all of the tropes that a fantasy movie would have. It actually was made for $30 million. Only grossed 15. Didn't do so well.
It didn't land on your box office bomb list, though.
No, it did not, because it only lost 15 million. So
only, yeah.
50 million was my kind of starting point.
Yeah.
So it actually inspired Zelda. The maker
video
of
game?
the maker of Zelda watched the movie. He's like, this is sweet. I'm going to make a game called Zelda about this. The actress was only 16 years old at filming. The director's cut apparently is almost twice as long, and Tom Cruise prefers it. He almost didn't want to pretend he had anything to do with it the non-director's cut. So I gotta get a hold of the director's cut. Maybe Kathy Clark or somebody has the director's cut. I wouldn't mind seeing the director's cut of this because it does move along quickly. Darkness is so scary. At least I remember.
Again, I want to see if
I'm
you
a little
still
worried.
see. Yeah.
I know. I'm a little worried. I might see it and be like, oh, that looks pretty fake. I'm a little worried about it. It was nominated for an Oscar for Best Makeup.
Okay.
So that's my number 5. So now on to number 3 for you.
Number 3, I'm concerned that I've talked about before. So if I have, will you do like one of those hooks for me so I don't have to talk about it again?
Like pull you off stage?
Yeah.
That type of hook?
Yeah. No, that's what the hook I'm talking about.
No, I'm with you, but
okay.
You can talk about it
Have
again.
I talked about Jumanji before?
Not in great detail, maybe.
No.
Yeah. It was one of your top movies of all time, right?
Keep it that way. No.
So it doesn't meet my criteria.
So it meets mine. Jumanji,
I think it is a good movie.
It is an excellent movie. Jumanji is written by Jonathan Hensley, directed by Joe Johnston.
Oh, Joe Johnston directed that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. What else did he do?
Some sort of Avenger movie, I think. Or not
I
Avenger
think you're
movie.
right.
Some sort of Marvel movie.
Like a Marvel movie,
It was a Marvel movie. Some
Okay.
sort of action movie that I really liked.
Okay.
I'm blanking on it right
So
now.
it stars Robin Williams, who is probably going to make all of my top 5s for the rest of my life. Kirsten Dunst, Bonnie Hunt, and Bradley Pierce. Set in probably like the 1960s, somewhere in there.
He directed
50s.
the first Captain America.
Nice, good one. 1950s, somewhere in there, where 2 kids find this game that's basically bewitched. And it's what ensues after that. It's set in that, and then it comes to current time and what happens after they find this game. And it's a movie that I would assume most people have seen, but what transpires and what the game brings out to me was fantasy. Like, it's just suspending your disbelief to imagine.
Oh, it's definitely a fantasy movie, just not by my.
The world changes as this game unfolds, and if you haven't seen it, you should see it. If you're a Robin Williams fan, you should see it as well. But it's one of my favorites of all time. Anyway,
I think I saw it in theaters, and I remember being blown away.
It was
I really
an
liked
epic
it.
movie. I think it would. So
Bonnie
that
Hunt.
one,
funny.
Yeah, Bonnie Hunt's awesome. That one would still be epic today. Like, I mean, that was probably 90s.
The graphics might be
I think that they're still awesome.
They're still
yeah,
still good.
Because I actually think I've watched it somewhere recently. Yeah.
Would our 5-year-old like that?
Yeah.
I think that's a safe movie.
It's a safe movie. I feel like there's very few swears.
I think a board game that comes to life. Are you kidding
She would
me?
love that movie. Animals, yeah.
Can we watch this on Friday?
Yeah.
Movie night?
Yeah.
Done.
Okay.
Oh, man.
I think I have it on VHS.
Are there any swears?
Do you have a VHS?
You have it on VHS?
No, I do. Do you still have a VHS?
We do not have a VHS.
I have a VHS.
Good pick. No, good pick. That's a tough one
it.
for me.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if this didn't have some sort of child. I can't imagine you not seeing my number 4. The never-ending story. No? Nothing? Never-ending story?
I don't even know what's happening right now.
Have you not seen the never-ending story?
I don't remember it. I saw it. There was that flying
like
dog.
Jumanji before Jumanji.
Yeah, but there was a flying dog that creeped me out with big eyeballs.
You mean Falcor?
Falcor.
Please, let's keep things real here. Let's not call him the flying dog. Falcor, he has a name.
I don't remember it much.
1984's The Never-Ending Story.
I don't think I liked it.
As you're reading the book, it breaks the fourth wall. It's like, hey,
yeah.
Sebastian. You're like reading the book and then your name.
I think it creeped me out. The dog's eyeballs were huge.
It's like dog's eyeballs are huge. That's what bothers you?
Yeah, it creeped me out, yeah.
Hour 42 minutes. IMDb gives it a 7.4. People love this movie. 81% Rotten Tomatoes.
Could Abby watch it?
There's some
What's tough?
Horse issues, I think. Some horse things.
Dies?
I don't remember. I remember there's something in a swamp. I remember something. I don't remember details.
Okay.
Directed by Wolfgang Petersen. So this is the other thing I forgot to mention. All of these directors of these fantasy movies went on to bigger, better things or had done bigger, better things before. And this was like maybe for their kids or something. They wanted to do something. Wolfgang Petersen did Das Boot, Outbreak, Air Force One. You're making fun of Das Boot just because of how it sounds. It's a great movie. It's probably top 100 movies of all time, probably. Das Boot.
Yeah.
Why? Why are you laughing?
I don't know why.
Air Force One, Perfect Storm, not good movies.
Air Force One?
Yeah, so Wolfgang
Harrison
Petersen.
Ford.
So starring Noah Hathaway, Barrett Oliver, and Tammy Stronach. Do you remember Atreyu?
Who?
How do you not know this movie? So the synopsis is a troubled boy dives into a world into a wondrous fantasy world. There you go, fantasy. Through the pages of a mysterious book. He finds his book. He's getting picked on or something. And goes to like a closet, janitor's closet, and starts flipping through. A storm comes, starts blowing open the windows. I remember just being captivated, like pulled into this world and thinking like, how cool is it? It's a little like, which is in my honorable mentions, like Narnia.
Okay.
Like kind of a Narnia-esque.
Bridge to Terabithia.
Something like that. Okay. Narnia actually makes my honorable mentions, but great movie. Okay. Definitely builds a fantasy world. There's this princess, and he has to accomplish things, evil witch kind of thing. It was the most expensive movie produced in Germany at the time. The director's German, filmed it in Germany. I think it's a great movie. I kind of want to go see it with you. They made some sequels to it, weren't as good. I won't go into detail because I feel like you're not resonating with this particular one. So, interesting facts for sure, but we can move on to your number 2.
Okay.
And I have my number 3 left, which is an epic number 3.
My number 2, you'll probably disagree, maybe as.
Oh wait, I have a number 2 left. How does this work? Do I need to go again?
I don't know.
Wait, did you do?
I have a 1
3?
and a 2.
Oh, because you have your number 1. Okay, yeah, cool. Okay. That works.
So, and that other one will match for sure.
You think so?
I think so. I do. My number 2 is
my precious.
The 2006 movie 300 is my number 2. It is classified as a fantasy.
That is not
albeit
a fantasy.
Action and
it's mythology.
Gore. Also fantasy though. It's classified. So it popped into my mind because I love this movie.
Popped in your mind because you were thinking abs. You're like,
I was thinking of Gerard Butler, and then it popped into my mind. No, but so it was classified as a fantasy. So 300 is written and directed by Zack Snyder. I don't know if you know what else he's done.
No, I don't know what Zack Snyder.
I'm not being sarcastic.
Oh, I think you're being sarcastic. Batman versus Superman. He did Watchmen.
That was bad. Watchmen, yeah.
Yeah. Oh. He did Man of Steel.
All right. So, starring Gerard Butler.
He did, hold on. I've got one more in there. Oh, it's going to come to me. No, it won't come to me.
And then, what's the gal's name? How do you pronounce her name? Lena?
Oh, I like her.
Yeah.
I don't know her name.
Heidi.
Sucker Punch. He did Sucker Punch, too.
Oh, okay. Everyone's seen that.
Don't see it.
I know. It's a 7.7 on IMDb. It's one of my favorite. It crosses genres for sure. I mean, it's definitely.
You mentioned this to me in our casual life before the podcast, pre-podcast, PP as I like to call it.
Okay.
Pre-podcast.
Yeah.
You've mentioned that, like you brought this up several times.
It's like a thing for me. I love this movie.
What is it about it?
I don't know because I'm not huge into gore, and this is a very gory movie. But I think because it's fantasy gore.
Like baby gore, which you also enjoy.
I know. I'm gonna drop in the word fantasy as many times as I can in the description of this movie, but it's set in BC, before Christ.
Oh,
BC.
It's set in Sparta.
480 BC. So it's set in a time in Greece where King Leonidas of Sparta is forced with he and his 300 Spartan men.
The Ottoman Empire's coming.
It's coming. There's 700 thespians, which I was like, does that mean like 700 actors? Thespians, yeah.
What did you read?
A description of the movie. There's some thespians that are involved.
No, there are no thespians.
Isn't that like actors? Yeah, thespians.
Thespians?
Thespians?
No, I think
they're from Thebes. They're from Thebes.
Oh, Thebians.
Thebians, but it says thespians.
Really?
I think if you're from Thebes, you're a thespian.
That's amazing.
Which makes you sound kind of weak.
Someone get back to us. Someone get back to us on this.
Because I read that, I'm like, woo, 700 thespians.
Maybe that's where thespian originates from, the term.
I don't know.
Like you act like a warrior, not actually a warrior.
Because you're a thespian.
Kind of a puss cake.
Yeah.
Pardon the term. That's a reference to Gran Torino. I'm not being vulgar.
And then 400 Thebians. Oh, no, because they're from Thebes. Thebians. There's lots of people. So there's like 1,000 people that take on the Persians in a Persian war of over 100,000.
I said Ottoman Empire. I might be wrong there. It's Persia. Yeah, it is Persia. I don't know.
Ruining my whole description of this movie. So
history.
They go into war and they go into battle and obviously are outnumbered. And it's the battle that ensues with that more than anything. So it's gory, but the only reason I think I like it is because it's fantasy gore. Again, like I said, it's not realistic. It's not realistic gore. number one.
Well, it's slow motion.
It's slow motion. It's very Snyder, Kill Bill in the
thing Zack Snyder has for him. He's a visual director, and he does visuals extremely innovatively. I mean, Watchmen was an extremely innovative visual storytelling. Yeah. He is not a great director, though. Terrible at coaching up actors. But this movie did not suffer from what Batman versus Superman suffered from. I was engaged the whole time. Yeah. I mean, it's a movie that if you haven't seen, you should see. And again, if you're kind of squeamish about like war / gore movies, I don't think it turns. Or I mean, it could be. It's legend. I mean, it may or may not have happened. Where million. They funneled them through this kind of tiny corridor where your limited fighting space allowed 300 warriors to be able to kind of not defeat, movie. Or I don't want to spoil it, but it's kind of like Titanic. It's such a powerful. Well, that's a little bit of a spoiler right there. It's Titanic. It doesn't end well, no, but it's just an excellent movie to me. And from what I read about the reviews of it, there's very much a divide. There's nobody that's in the middle. They're either like these people who love this movie. Best movie, I loved it. I saw it on IMAX. But there's people that are like, this is terrible. So you're either in one of two schools. For me, it's one that I loved. What about you? Next one. 3 for me follows in my 80s theme. Also follows in my number directors that have gone on, that had bigger careers or at before and after. Willow. That's my number 1. High five. High five to you. Boop. Yeah. Oh, Tell me about it. It's an excellent movie. So 2 hours, 6 minutes. Could have been longer. I would have enjoyed it. 7.3 on IMDb. Only 48% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's what I'm talking about. Critics just don't respond. They don't like comedies. They don't like awesome movies. They don't like fantasies. Yeah. Written by George Lucas. I know. Directed by Ron Howard. Did you know this? He didn't age well. Parenthood, Apollo 13, Beautiful Mind, Da Vinci Code, if you don't know, Ron Howard. And then also from... childhood star from Andy Griffith's show, starring Val Kilmer, notoriously difficult to work with. Gosh. We'll get into it. And he was a bit of a heartthrob there at the time. Know. Joanne Whaley, Warwick Davis as the little person. It was Willow. Yeah. Synopsis: Reluctant dwarf must play a critical role in protecting a special baby. Do you remember the baby's name? Is it like Magdalene? Denora. No. Denora. Something, is it? Something Denora. I don't remember. I was just actually seeing if you remember Eldonora something. I don't know. Yeah. Just been a long time. Again, world building. George Lucas wrote Star Wars and wrote Indiana Jones. I don't know if you know he wrote Indiana Jones. I did know that. He is when he wants to build a world, he does a very good job. You're completely drawn in. Drawn there. Yeah. Some facts about it. Many people don't know that in the film's plot. I did not know this. This blew my mind. So. The dwarf actors in Willow are actually in the world, if you read the comics, because it's a comic book as well, that George Lucas turned into, the dwarf people are actually normal-sized, and everybody else are giants. I have no idea what you're talking about right now. So the dwarf community in this movie, they are the average size. So they hired giants. No, they didn't hire giants. What are you talking about? You mean like people over 6 feet tall? I'm saying in the mythology of the comic books, the dwarves are the average sized people. So everybody else is a giant to them. Oh, I was so like they're that's tricky casting. Not that. Okay. That I like that. Yeah. So that's the thing. It's not that dwarfism is unusual. Is the norm, and then dwarfism is the norm. Giantism it's not dwarfism. It's we're just kind of average. These people are all giants. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. So as a kid, I was so creeped out. Not a spoiler, when the hair burnt off those like pig things. So those transformations occur. There's some magic. Did you know that Warwick Davis, Willow, was only 17 years old when he filmed it? I didn't know that. He looked older. Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was interesting. How old is he now? Oh, he's probably in his... So it's... What year was the movie? 17 and 88. So that... Do your math on the fly. I've had too much wine, Care. Is that 38 years? This is like when you try and pay the bill. 28 years. 70% tip. 28 years. 28 years. On top of 17. Is 45. Boom. Good. Hopefully I did my original math right. Someone's going to call us out on this. That's not bad, though. So the main actress, who actually was young. I was 88, so 6. So I probably didn't have the hots for this lady. I thought she was pretty, though. The Joanne Whaley character, the daughter of the sorceress or stepdaughter, she actually ended up marrying Val Kilmer. They met on set.
I'm sure they were divorced immediately.
He is apparently the worst. He is the worst person to deal with. Just arrogant. I thought it was interesting too. So John Cusack actually tested for the role that Val Kilmer won as Mad Mardigan, classic character.
I could actually see him doing that.
But lost. He actually says that it's his biggest disappointment is losing out that role. Like of all his things that he wasn't able to. This is an interesting fact. Production stopped for a bit, so they had to find new babies, and they actually ended up using one of the, I can't remember whose baby they used. For
so weird.
Denora or whatever her name was.
Okay.
So Willow walks with a limp in the movie, which made the little girl, the baby, travel sick. So when he lifted her up, the throw up. Do you remember the scene where like the little baby throws up all over? That's all real. So they thought it was so funny. I kind of want
to watch this again. It's been years.
I want to see Willow. Yeah. There's talks that they might remake it.
I don't even want to see that. I want to see the original. I feel like
the original. I think of all the movies that we talked about that won't stand the test of time. I think I could still get into.
Yeah,
Willow.
I think I could too.
Do you remember the sledding scene when the snow and the shield? Yeah, there's some good stuff in there.
If you haven't seen this movie,
let's go watch
you should
this after
see
this show. Okay, anyway.
I'm not watching after this show, but
number 1 for you. I'm interested.
Oh, that was it. I did Lord of the Rings.
So you're stuck with
my rec.
Oh, that's all you have?
That's all I have.
So I have number 2. I'm surprised it didn't make it in here.
What is it?
Harry Potter, my number 2.
You know what? I have only... So, okay.
It's an obvious choice, but I just got to do it.
The only reason is you made me do that binge watch thing when I was pregnant. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
I remember you doing it.
So there was like the fourth one came out, and you're like, or the fifth or
But when you talk about world building, other than Lord of the Rings,
but you were like,
this is a close second.
Hey, you're feeling really ill. Why don't you stay home and watch 5 of these in a row? I did.
Okay.
But I don't actually remember. Like it's not locked in my memory.
How many years would you say Harry Potter spans?
What are you talking about?
Like how many years apart from the first movie to the last movie?
In terms of when they actually went out on, like, were in theaters? Oh, released.
So Lord of the Rings was 2001 was the first, and 2003 was the last.
I would say like 10 years.
It was 10 years.
I guessed that, though.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I mean, it spanned a long time.
I know they're good, and I should watch them again.
Yeah, they are very good.
Yeah.
I don't need to say anything about it. Great movie.
Okay.
They went through 4 directors, I think, across all of those movies. David Yates, who did the last 2 or 3, he's doing the kind of the prequel, The Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. So interested to see where that movie goes. I know we're planning on just jumping right into the Rex, but any honorable mentions for you, like ones that were like close calls?
No.
I've got Hook,
I know you have some though.
Hook, Beetlejuice, Adventures of Baron von Munchausen,
Scissorhands.
Edward Scissorhands, Narnia. I said. Do you remember Dragonheart?
No.
Sean Connery voiced the dragon.
Was he the one where he was a king?
No king.
No.
Beastmaster.
Oh, that was
terrible movie. Ladyhawk.
No,
Nothing.
none of these movies.
Dark Crystal, Labyrinth, close call.
What about Pan's Labyrinth?
So I haven't seen it, which is a shock. But I even if I had, I think I might have classified it as horror.
Okay.
But I need to see Pan's Labyrinth. I know Nick Roush, your cousin, would want us to. Princess Bride. What do you think about that? Is that a fantasy movie?
What's in there that's a fantasy?
There's some stuff.
Like
it's
what?
Fantastical.
The princess?
No,
like what?
No.
What's in there that's fantastical?
Some magic and stuff.
Like what?
Oh, the little rodents, of unusual size.
The world hasn't been transformed, Rob.
Okay.
Well,
rather than breaking, we're going to just jump right into our Rex. Carrie assigned me, for those who can remember from 2 months ago, Raging Bull, and what did I assign you? Locke?
Locke.
All right, tell me about Locke. What'd you think?
So...
It's available right now on Amazon. Go right now.
For free? Prime?
For free.
Okay. That's why you recommended it to me. So it's written and directed by Stephen Knight. Stephen Knight did Burnt. We've talked about that before.
He directed Burnt?
Yeah.
I take back everything I say.
Written. He wrote Burnt.
Oh, he wrote Burnt. Okay, well, that's all
right. Maybe he directed too. I'm not sure. I just know he wrote it. Also, interesting factoid, he's also the creator of the show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah. Do you want to phone a friend?
No, I do not.
So anyway, it stars Tom Hardy and pretty much nobody else. So
it really is just Tom Hardy.
It is Tom Hardy and then voices. So we were
just talking about limited storytelling. This is even more limited.
So if you've seen movies like Telephone Booth or Telephone Booth, whatever that movie was.
Just Booth.
Just Booth. No, I think it's Telephone Booth. Booth.
All right, we'll look this up later.
With Colin Farrell. It's one of those movies where it's set in exactly the same scene for the entire movie, which you always wonder how it's possible to do that.
You really think it's called Telephone Booth?
No, maybe it's Booth. It's more than just Booth.
Phone Booth.
Phone Booth. We're
both right.
Like 50% right. So Ivan Locke is a dedicated family man and successful construction manager who is set to have this big deal go through the next day. And he's in the car. Starts with him in the car. And he takes off and he gets this phone call. And he's deciding whether or not to turn left or right. First 5 minutes. Turn left or right. Gets the phone call. He has it on left. And because of the phone call, he turns right. And it's everything that transpires literally in a car ride for the next hour and 19 minutes or whatever it was. And the story of what happens to him and why he chose to turn right and the epic decision that it was. And epic is not the right word, but it's the decision that it was and why he chose to make this choice. And you know what? Again, I don't know how much it cost to make. I should have looked into that. But for what we could have made in like $17, I'm sure it made a lot of money. And he just drove and talked on the phone to different people.
I mean, I feel like there's a movie we could make that would be like this. The difference is we don't have Tom Hardy.
I mean, I know Tom. I mean, I could call Tom. Yeah.
I mean, it's just spending. So I don't know if you know this. The time of him getting from point A to point B is the time of the movie. Like it's real time.
Yeah.
So he has to get somewhere within a certain amount of time.
The whole movie is in the car.
Yeah.
And it's so he talks to different people on his speakerphone, on his Bluetooth.
He's got a cold. He's got a runny
Tom Hardy
nose.
is pretty awesome, just as an actor in general. You all know him from Revenant or Dark Knight, Child 44. Never see that movie. It was one of those. He was also in Inception, but Netflix movie. Would I say it's worth seeing?
Amazon Prime.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, Amazon Prime for free.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay. It was just free. So one of those movies that would I say, see? Sure. It's one of those movies that...
I had heard nothing about it.
Yeah,
I know
it's
the
fine.
value that we
It's
add
fine.
to the audience, hopefully, is that we review bad movies so we can find the good ones. This is unexpected. Like, I came across it.
I'd see it.
And
I'd
I was
say
like,
see it.
for free? Like, oh,
Yep.
man. And it's... The plot... it all takes place in a car. Like every other movie, you pitch this to me, I don't want to see it. And I was skeptical going into it. It really grabbed me. It's tense, even though it's
tense. You're like,
nothing's happening.
Yeah.
Like nothing's happening in the movie, but it's tense. And I got to give credit to Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
Because that's about all you can really say is like it's him carrying this movie, and could be it's a very legitimate situation that could happen.
What do you mean? Everybody watch this movie and
whatever,
say if it's a legitimate
whatever freebie. Whatever freebie.
Whatever freebie. So
you assign me a much more like famous movie, Raging Bull.
What'd you think?
1980, 2 hour 9 minutes, 8.3 on IMDb, top 100 movie on IMDb.
Sure.
97% on Rotten Tomatoes, infallible. Directed by Martin Scorsese, written actually by Jake LaMotta, which the movie portrays. It's about an emotionally self-destructive boxer's journey through life, as the violence and temper that leads him to the top in the ring also destroys his life outside of it. It was boring. It was, and I feel bad saying that.
You should feel bad, yeah.
It's
a classic
it's
movie.
supposed to be a great movie, and it is. Robert De Niro acting in it, fantastic. It's just the problem for me, and I know it's Martin Scorsese, and love Martin Scorsese. It's just, to me, it's a bit dated in its shooting style.
What year was it? Did you say
1980?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's dated.
I'd much rather go see Rocky. Like, you know what I mean?
And
Rocky's a year older.
Appreciate the time.
No, I know, a great story. Jake LaMotta was.
Yeah, I feel like you were picking up.
He's 90, he's still alive. 94 years old.
I feel like you were picking apart things that you shouldn't be picking apart.
I was just like, it's so long.
Yeah, no, but you were
so
like,
bored.
oh, see when he punched him? I could tell he didn't punch him.
Yeah, the punching scenes were supposed to be innovative. They bring in the camera in the ring and all that stuff.
So you have to know that going into it.
Yeah, I didn't care. That's not my problem with it. The problem was it was so
I feel like
slow.
you just didn't like the domestic violence.
No, it was just so slow. Like, that's what domestic violence I like. It was just a little, it was just so slow. Okay. It was so much character development. Like, and I didn't know if I'm supposed to feel pity for Jake LaMotta. So the real life Jake LaMotta, apparently deaf, 70% one ear, 30% in the other, which contributed to his frustration growing up and in his adulthood, where he just can't hear people and it just irritates him.
I can't remember how you rated It's a Wonderful Life. Did you like that? You said great.
I actually,
you should see it.
Yeah,
because I was gonna say this is black and white.
I don't think it was great. You should see it. I just think if it's a classic, keep watching it.
But this is in the same category. It's like a classic never seen Raging black Bull, and white movie too.
I think you could be okay not seeing it. I really do. I don't think you'd be like missing out. I think there's
a category of people that would really benefit and like it. Don't you think?
If you're again film historian,
yeah, go
see it. I don't think if someone hasn't seen it to this date, I don't think you're missing out. Unless you're a completionist, you like Robert De Niro, you want to see an award-winning acting performance, absolutely. But the black and white part of it, the I don't know, it's so slow for me. Like nothing happens. Like it's just a story. So on a side note,
Robert De Niro, you said you saw Dirty Grandpa.
Yes.
And this movie, he's almost like in the same, if not better shape in Dirty Grandpa.
So that's the other thing, his transformation. We talked about this was one of my top 5 transformations. Maybe number 2 or number 1. I can't remember. Yeah. Number 2. He gained a record 60 pounds for the role.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, to the point where...
Because his face looks kind of puffy.
And interesting about Jake LaMotta, this guy was an incredible boxer as far as he is Rocky as far as being able to take a punch. He almost never went down. He went down one time. He got knocked down one time, but he had an iron chin. Like he just could not get knocked down. And Robert De Niro, as a method actor, really took into the role. Like a lot of the punching scenes where him and Joe Pesci are fighting each other and stuff, the punches to the face, they're real punches to the face. Mm-hmm. And apparently he broke Joe Pesci's rib in one of the scenes, and all the reactions are very real. Interesting thing about Martin Scorsese I found in researching this is he was addicted to cocaine in the early or late 70s and was hospitalized for an overdose, and his life was pretty much going downhill. Robert De Niro had been wanting to make this movie. They had just worked together on Taxi Driver, I think.
Which I think is supposedly
I want to see that.
Great movie.
I do want to see that movie too. But yeah, it brought him to, hey, you got to make this movie. This movie, is everything. And apparently Martin Scorsese owes his kind of turnaround and kind of finding his love again for filmmaking, getting away from drugs, owes it to Robert De Niro and this movie for kind of getting him out of there.
Okay.
F word is used 114 times. Won 2 Oscars.
That's nice.
I did count. Mm-hmm. Yeah, good movie. Okay. What do you got for me for the next time?
Have you seen the movie 11:14?
Yes, I have.
Oh.
Wow, good pick. That's a deep pull. Is that Edward Norton? No, that's 11th Hour. 11:14 is starring the girl that I like, the Mousy Girl, right? Mousy Girl. Rachel Lee Cook is in it.
Oh.
Am I correct?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know?
I don't know the details. Are you sure you've seen it?
It's about a series
What's going to happen at 11:14?
No, things it's like a vignette of different stories of all that happened at the same time around this 11:14 moment.
I don't know if that's right.
There's 4 stories. If not...
I think it's a different movie.
Rachel Lee Cook?
Hang on, let me check. Yeah. Tell me yours first.
So while you're looking that up, I'm assigning you because you just need to see this movie.
So much I want to say.
Ruin.
Seen it.
Blue Ruin.
Seen it.
You have not seen Blue Ruin.
I've thought about seeing it, though.
Ruin. I'll see 11:14. It's okay if I've seen movies.
I know, but you haven't... So is it Henry Thomas and Colin Hanks?
Colin Hanks and Rachel Lee Cook, if you look a little further down the list.
Dang it.
It's a good movie.
So why don't you see Taxi Driver?
I'll see it with you.
See Taxi
Driver. Have you seen 11:14? Why are you wrecking it?
Because I had a recommendation from a friend.
Who?
Kellen.
Good job, Kellen.
So he also recommended me a couple other ones.
Well, let's watch together and let's talk about it. It'll be my rec.
Or do you want to see Taxi Driver?
No, I don't want to see old movies anymore because I'm just disappointed. I'd rather talk about 11.
So he gave me that one, and he actually gave me a couple other ones, and there were ones that I knew you had seen, and I was like, because I was like, give me ones that he hasn't seen, like really good, like either indie or like
11:14 is a deep pull.
That's what I thought.
It's a good pull.
So wait. Before I do this, hang on. Let me go to the other one he recommended that I was not.
Patrick Swayze's in it too, if I recall.
Really? Yeah. I do like Patrick Swayze. Have you ever seen this movie? Hang on. Give me a sec.
All right.
So I have to see Blue Ruin. Tell me a little tiny bit about that.
No, I've talked about Blue Ruin ad nauseum on the show. I
know. I never listened. Hurry. But have you ever seen Drowning Mona?
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
And so it was funny. He said, try 1114 Drowning Mona or Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. And I was like,
Kiss Kiss
I
Bang
know,
Bang.
I know. I was like, oh, Kiss. I know. I was like, he loves Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Sign that to me. Whatever you want to rec me, I will watch.
But you've seen all three.
Any one of those.
So let's do 1114 because actually that sounded more interesting to me.
Yeah, I'd like to watch that with you, actually.
Okay.
All right, cool.
And then... and mine is Blue Ruin. Okay.
Yours is Blue Ruin.
Sounds
so
good.
in closing, just want to thank everybody again for sticking with us through our hiatus. But we are back, and we're not going to take 2 months in between. What do you think, realistically, when we're going to be back? 2 to 4 weeks?
Yeah.
Somewhere in that range? Cool. The music you've been listening to is actually, I ran out of people who've been providing me free music, so I had to turn to myself. It's from our band Convergence. Check it out at convergenceband.com. Haven't really updated the site in a long time, but have some music on iTunes there. Check us out on social media as well. Like our Facebook page, Alternate Ending, Twitter, alternatingpod.com. Click there. Subscribe to our podcasts on iTunes or Google, and be sure to write a review. That really helps us kind of get promoted up through the ranks there. Tune in for our next show, which Carrie doesn't even know what it's going to be about. I'm going to tell her right this moment, where we'll be talking about our top 5 low-budget movies. What do you think about that?
I love it.
You already have the list, right? Boom.
It's
5
done.
movies popped in your head.
It's done.
Well, looking forward to it. Great to be back. It feels right. So we'll talk to you next time.